Good afternoon, everyone. We're just getting settled in. Just as a note, this is a recorded event, so we're going to keep your cameras and your microphones off throughout the course of the webinar. Everyone will get a copy of this recording, and it'll also get posted on our YouTube channels and any of our public channels, just so students can view it. So something to keep in mind in this website format. But please welcome to our Study Abroad at SOAS University of London informational webinar. My name is Kevin Cañas. I'm the IFSA Enrollment Counselor for the program, as well as a lot of our London and England programs. I'm very excited to talk about this program because it is not only one of my favorites, but also one of our hidden gems. As a former international relations major, SOAS University of London is one of those that really calls my name. So I'm excited to show you a little bit more about it and what it looks like to apply as an IFSA student. And we'll just go ahead and get started. Quick summary of what we're going to be looking towards throughout the course of the webinar. We'll start with some fast facts about SOAS, dubbed the World's University, and we'll learn a little bit more about as to why it's called that. We'll talk about the classes and the departments available at SOAS and why SOAS is a great choice for study abroad. We'll also tackle why IFSA and what IFSA has to offer for you as a student and what it looks like to apply. We'll also have a section at the end for question and answer. So SOAS is dubbed the world's university for a variety of reasons, one of them being that it is second in the UK for its international faculty, spanning from all across the globe, whether they are faculty who have produced their materials and research at SOAS or have come in from other universities in the UK or from other universities across the globe. This can mean research, but also nationalities of the faculty in terms of their international title. SOAS has 100+ societies in sports, politics, and other interests related to many different kinds of sports, politics, and interests across the globe and regional parts across the globe. So you'll find something you may not have heard of before as you're kind of embarking through the club fair and the society fair that they hold every semester, as well as if you're looking at it online. You'll find as well that 54% of the student body at SOAS is international. So this comprises students who are visiting just for a semester, such as like study abroad students, or those visiting for an academic year, to those on an exchange program directly across the EU or other universities across the globe, and even postgraduate students and undergraduate students seeking a degree at SOAS from another country outside of the UK. You'll also find that the SOAS is located right in the center of London, right next to a lot of other universities, such as the University of College London, the London School of Economics, or LSE, and Westminster. So it's located in a very central hub where students are constantly not only walking around, but moving between their respective universities, but have a lot of international restaurants, cafes, and a lot of different ways for students to feel that international feel that SOAS is known for on campus and even off its campus. So the classes and department listing across SOAS is divided mostly into regional subject areas. So if you see on the left side of the slide, you'll see a lot of the subject areas tend to be listed based off the regional department or the section or the area of interest. You'll find that a lot of these are potentially have a lot of overlap. So you'll be able to not only take courses, something, for example, if you'd want to watch or take a course on Asian development, you could take it in the developmental studies department, but you could also take it in the China and Inner Asia department as well. So you'll find a lot of overlap across a lot of them. A lot of students who are seeking to study LATAM kind of get a little disheartened when they immediately see the listings as it's not listed across it, but students are still eligible to study Latin America and South America and Central America in the Politics International Studies department. They'll just have to kind of find the coursework available to them and even inquire with SOAS directly or myself to see what's available to them. A very common question that students have is that they want to study language at SOAS and they don't see it listed on this specific department list, that's because languages are ingrained directly into the department and to the subject area. So for example, if a student wanted to study Swahili, they would find that listing within the Africa subject area. Same thing if a student wanted to study Japanese, they would find it in the Japan and Korea subject area. So the departments tend to stay within those labels and things can be found pretty easily. Language assessments are done for all students, regardless of their level. So if they're an introductory level student or if they're an advanced student, they'll have an assessment sent to them prior to their arrival at SOAS. It's typically sent off to the student by email. It's typically a written exam of some sort, or it can be done as a Zoom call. It's really per the student's preference. I personally would have preferred one that's written as a former student of Mandarin, so I would have preferred a written exam. So the options are available to the student, and language is an essential portion of what they have at SOAS, so it's important it's mentioned to the student. The module catalogs are available on the SOAS site. If it isn't available, I can very easily give that to the student or to an advisor. Syllabi can be requested for students if they need some sort of course approval at their school. I can always reach out on behalf of the student, or someone on my IFSA team can reach out as well. For the class structure, as students are on site and abroad, it takes up, whether you're a fall student or a spring student, you're taking 4 modules or classes throughout your time at SOAS. Each class is worth 15 SOAS credits. So for the 4 classes, you'll be taking 60 SOAS credits, which amounts to the 16 US credits total for a semester. So each course is worth 4 US credits. Academic year students take double the amounts, meaning that they'll take 120 SOAS credits, still taking 4 modules or classes per semester. Students are eligible to take, if they are studying for the academic year, a course that it's worth 30 SOAS credits or 8 US credits. These courses vary in style. They can be intensive courses, meaning that they're taken through one semester with multiple meetings and classes and discussion periods throughout the course of the week, or a year-long course with a prolonged study that's worth the 8 US credits, kind of like a Part A and Part B, or a fully elongated curriculum. Of course, those can be kind of researched independently by the student in the module catalog. And if you need a syllabi, of course, I'm happy to get that for you. Great question is, why SOAS? What's the enticing thing about SOAS? SOAS is known for its specialized study in Asia, Africa, and the Near and Middle East when it comes to all disciplines related within the social sciences and the humanities. Lectures, tutorials, and the discussions that are ingrained in the curriculums for the students emphasize interdisciplinary learning. So faculty specialize in one field or one region, or maybe even one topic within a region, but they're available across multiple departments in SOAS. So it allows students to tackle topics and research material and lecture material in a different variety of lenses. So they're able to not only tackle things in one lens, but also take in multiple perspectives of information to be able to research and find an interest of their own within all of that. Interculturality is incredibly important in SOAS, not only by its namesake, but also as well in its curriculum and its classrooms. And its own personalized webinars, is that they're looking to move away from the westernized lens of political analysis, as well as the way in which research is conducted, and looking towards the Eastern lens, as well as things that are considered to be in the developmental world. SOAS, that's done even at a very micro scale. They utilize the international student experience as well as international faculty experiences to be able to produce this interculturality, which is incredibly valuable and sometimes difficult to find across classrooms as you seek a degree plan here in the United States. So being able to find this at SOAS is incredibly valuable. A lot of the courses and a lot of the lectures at SOAS have a very small cohort. So this is often very enticing to students who are coming from big schools that have 50 to 60 students, or even more than that. I come from a liberal arts college, so my classes tended to be around 30 students, and the higher the level was, the less students would be. So maybe it isn't something atypical for students coming from a similar background, but it's still very valuable to be able to continue that small cohort size That being said, the university is quite major. There's a lot of students at this university, so it is not a small school, but they do offer lots of tutorial sections and module sessions, so students are able to maintain that small cohort size and find something that's schedule. Another couple of great reasons for picking SOAS as a study abroad destination is that it's home to the National Research Library, which is comprised of 1.5 million items in more than 400 languages. That's encompassing both modern language and old language. So I can only imagine the size of the libraries at SOAS. This photo here is where students are sitting on the stairs, is from the Senate House, which is one of the libraries at SOAS. Students have access to all of the libraries as a visiting student, whether they're there as a semester student or if they're there as an academic year student. So they're able to embark on this research and these libraries as much and as often as they'd like. So if there is a research project that a student is working on and they'd like to use these resources, they can. Or if they're looking towards some sort of thesis project towards the end of their degree plan, they could even use the resources at SOAS to begin to find things and things of interest, or even find material for this thesis. SOAS offers a unique thing, along with many other UK universities, that allows them to connect with students who are already on campus and already seeking a degree, sometimes a local student or another international student, called the SOAS Buddy Program. This is offered to students prior to their arrival via email, and they're able to register for it. And there is a system at SOAS that allows the appropriate connection to be made with the student who's on site to ensure that they have not only the same academic interests, but they're also maybe within the same age group, or even sometimes even randomer than that, where they're able to get a student who is maybe finishing their degree or maybe a graduate student, but typically it stays within the undergraduate realm. So a great opportunity to make a friend before you even arrive. The SOAS Student Union is incredibly popular at SOAS and incredibly well known across the UK. It is known to be the most active in the UK with its 100 plus societies relating to sports, cultural societies and interests, as well as even political organizations. It's got an incredibly full event calendar across the year. So there's always something going on with the SOAS Student Union, from things being on campus like karaoke nights, pub nights, lectures from professionals, and even famous politicians, to even things off campus like sponsored events with discounted rates for students to come towards with other SOAS IDs. So the SOAS Student Union has something to offer for everyone. There's this club fair and a society fair at the start of each term where students are able to kind of explore and connect with students immediately on face-to-face if they're looking for something of interest or looking to learn about something new. So they're able to find something on their own. We actually have student experience coordinators at our IFSA London team and office who have attended SOAS, and we're very active in the SOAS Student Union. We have some former rugby players who played rugby for SOAS in the Student Union. So I definitely have heard of the connection and the ease to which students can participate in, and have found it very rewarding to have been able to be a part of that SOAS Student Union as former students, graduate students. Now, the other question is why IFSA? Why attending a study abroad program with IFSA at SOAS is valuable? Like I just said, the London staff is incredibly valuable, not only for their knowledge of London itself, but their experience as students. All of our staff in London has gone through a curriculum, whether it's undergraduate or graduate or both, across a university in the UK or even just in London. So they understand what it's like to be a student and can offer great guidance for students onto how to tackle their research and academic materials, to even just better study habits if they don't have some that they're uncomfortable or that they're comfortable with, and lots of guidance across that. And our London staff has a lot of support they can offer to the students outside of the classroom, whether it's finding social activities or places to visit, great restaurants, or even just mental health support if they're looking to talk to someone in an informal way. Our London staff hosts appreciative advising sessions at the campuses across London and at SOAS, so they can meet up with students during that time and even get a coffee with the student and chat a little bit about what's on their mind. Housing is always guaranteed through IFSA with very high standards. Our London team vets all of our housing options, whether it's something offered by SOAS or something that we are using as our IFSA London housing. The options are Dinwiddie House, which is housed by SOAS. That is the only accommodation that SOAS uses for its study abroad students. It is used for all SOAS students, so it won't just be study abroad students, but it will be an international house. And then there's our IFSA London housing, which students are eligible to look about and find more about in their IFSA student portal. They can also feel free to reach out to me to get the specific questions about it, but always guaranteed. IFSA also provides great application support, as well as US credit transfer and transcript support as the students are making their way out of the program, and even before the program with that pre-arrival and admission support with the application. We offer students as part of their program package, CISI insurance, which is traveler's insurance that allows students to be covered while they're on site in London, as well as while they're traveling across Europe if they decide to do so, since it's right there. We have a relationship with your home school as a student, so we stay in touch and connect with them if there is something that you need to have addressed immediately, and make sure that your home school stays in the loop with any information that requires their assistance or just their FYI. IFSA has a great community across all of its London programs and across the UK, with a lot of its excursions and events across our IFSA London Centre. So I'll get this photo on screen. That's actually one of our big common areas in the IFSA London Centre. I've been there myself. It's quite cozy. There's coffee, there's water, there's snacks, and all sorts of refreshments. And this is our fall and AY students participating in Thanksgiving dinner that our IFSA London team puts up, where they're able to engage with other students outside of their university and outside of their IFSA cohort for the university, and kind of get to know other students too. With excursions in mind, there's plenty across each of the semesters that are put on by our IFSA London staff. This is inclusive of all the IFSA students. So whether a student is staying in London for a program, or maybe they're located in York, or they're located in Cardiff in Wales, they're eligible to come all the way down to London to come for these excursions if they're centered in London, or to other overnight excursions, which we'll touch on in a second. IFSA pays the cost for this transport if they're coming in from another place. But for those in London, we will get the tickets to students. We'll get any sort of reservations completed on behalf of the students, and the students just have to RSVP and let us know that they're going to attend. Some examples are on screen, such as a walk through the South Bank in Borough Market. Borough Market is one of the most famous places in London. It's an outdoor food hall. I was there somewhat in the summer, so I think it was outdoor. I think it turns into an indoor one when it gets colder out. There's a lot of football and other sporting events and other matches that students can be taken to if it's of interest for the term. And like I said, tickets are bought for the students on their behalf, so that's always a great perk. Students are taken to Shakespeare's Globe and take a tour of Buckingham Palace. They'll also be taken to the British Bake Off as maybe even a live view of the show, or even a tour of the British Bake Off kind of exhibit and exhibition. We also have some overnight excursions to Liverpool and to Wales, where students are eligible to stay through a weekend and overnight in some IFSA-provided housing while they're in these locations, and tend to meet locals and other very touristy spaces that students may not know about when they do their independent travel. So there's always a tour involved and some good food. And in Wales, at least in the past, there's been the ability to meet a local family and kind of stay with that family overnight and get to know a local outside of the London sphere. And this is just some examples of things that have happened in the past. The excursion list changes every semester depending on what's of interest and what has been of interest. These get sent out to students about a couple weeks before their programs start, and then every 2 weeks they'll get a list of things that they can RSVP for prior to the start of the event. Things like the overnight excursions, they're given about a month or so of notice. But other ones they'll get 2 weeks prior to the start of the event. They can RSVP and let us know if they're arriving, especially since it's typically during class session. The events always typically happen sometimes towards the weekend and the latter half of the week, but some do happen during the week, so some planning is always helpful. So how do you apply for these programs? You always start everything in our IFSA student portal. Sometimes for some students, they have a portal to access through their study So sometimes you're working things in tandem. This is just for our IFSA student portal. Our deadline for the application is October 1st. Your university may have a deadline prior to this, so it's very important that you connect with your study abroad application being completed, not only to fulfill their processes, but also so they know that you're thinking about study abroad. So if the deadline is prior at your university to October 1st, make sure to complete their section as well and complete ours in tandem. Oftentimes, if the deadline is, let's say, September 15th, you'll need to complete both our application and the application at your university at the same time. So typically, but please check in with your study abroad office to ensure that that is the requirement and if the deadline is different. With our application, we require a minimum of 3.0 for a GPA. There typically is not wiggle room, but if we're somewhere just below the GPA, you'll need to reach out to me so we can talk and see what we have or what the opportunities are. This is just the IFSA requirement for the GPA. If your school has a different GPA requirement, you must abide by the school's and your university's GPA minimum. The application requires one academic recommendation, which you'll put into your IFSA student portal, and then your recommender is able to complete it on their own, so it doesn't require a lot of follow-up on your part. You'll complete a class selection or class interest form where you'll list the courses that you're interested in just to organize your thoughts, but this isn't the official registration. A couple of agreements, the logistical paperwork. You'll upload a passport copy, whether it's expired, is in renewal, or is, got lots of time on it. You'll upload a copy just so we have it on file. It is required by SOAS when it's submitted. Your application is submitted, that is, so we do ask that you upload a passport copy. You'll submit some address information. And lastly, you'll see something listed in your portal called the scholarship application. This isn't a required item, but it is something that is optional for you to complete if you're looking to apply for a scholarship and want some extra funding. Depending on your school, there may be some additional scholarships outside of this one in this application. So something to ask your study abroad office about, or even reach out to me directly so I can fill you in on that. But the scholarship application is available to you in your IFSA student portal. It is due on its priority deadline, October 1st. And I highly recommend getting it submitted for that priority deadline, whether it's for the first generation scholarship, which is due on October 1st, or the general scholarship, which is due on October 1st for priority, and then once again later in the month of October. The first generation scholarship is only received once, so only October 1st, and that's its only deadline. If you need some information or some clarity on these deadlines, feel free to reach out to me or even search it. That takes us to our Q&A section. So I'll actually go ahead and stop the recording just to ensure that we have privacy of any personal questions that are required.